Oh my gosh, very good dogs. Welcome back to Bluegrass this beautiful October afternoon. Today we're going to talk about how time management and environmental factors influence your dog training sessions. Okay, so it's about 1:30 in the afternoon and we're going to go up on the Exercise with Small Challenges course and we're going to do a little work. And I specifically waited to this time of the day to make a few key points. Okay, now usually like in the summertime when we're making videos, we can make videos at quite a bit earlier time of the day because our course has sunlight on it from a little bit earlier in the morning. As we get closer towards winter, we have to start to push our videos off to the afternoon a little bit because the sun doesn't get in a position where it's not casting shadows because of the trees in my building onto the course. And so it shifts everything out about an hour, sometimes an hour and a half. And you wouldn't think that an hour and a half makes much difference, but when dogs are on a routine, an hour and a half is the difference between a good performance and a bad performance. And that's what often leads to what we call the watch this problem in dog training, okay? Have you ever noticed that you'll be, at home working on something with your dog, or you'll be at the park working on something with your dog, and it's going perfectly. Your dog will sit, he'll down, he'll roll over, he'll play dead, he's perfect on the leash, And then you go see your cousin or something and you're like, they ask you about your dog training and how it's going. So you're like, hey, watch this. And when you go to do it, your dog has a complete meltdown and doesn't perform nearly as well as you expected, right? Okay. Well, guys, that doesn't just happen to you. That happens to professional dog trainers also. I have a routine here. We get up every morning, we exercise, then we work on our formal school work. Then we go out to the pre-adventure area, and then for the dogs that are here for adventure training, we go over to the farm. And like any disruption in that pattern, not only affects my performance, but it affects the performance of the dogs, And so, I'm the first one to admit that it's not all the dog's problems, I teach my lessons every morning at 9 o'clock. People show up and I talk to them for a few hours, then we go do some interesting stuff, And if somebody gets here late, it throws off my whole day. Like if I have to start my lesson at 9:17 instead of 9 o'clock sharp, it throws off my whole day, my whole performance. Then when my performance gets off, of course it throws the dog's performance off. But with these videos, right, even though I know why we're working a little bit later in the day, the dogs don't know. And so as we get closer to wintertime, we can run into a lot of problems with the dogs saying, but Stonnie, we don't do this activity at this time of the day. This time of the day, we're usually out back in the pre-adventure area working on off-leash stuff, working on having fun, working on what we call learning by doing. Because basically, we run a giant puppy Montessori. We shape the environment and the environment shapes the dogs. That's our basic premise. We only look at obedience is removing the impediments that get in the way of a dog going out and getting a chance to learn by doing, And so like today I'm trying to make a video and all the dogs are kind of shooting out back towards the gate and they're looking at me like, hey dude, you got it wrong today. We're supposed to be out there. And I'm like, no, we're going to come up here. And I was trying to make a video with this show line Labrador Retriever that I have and a show line English Springer Spaniel. And this is what happens towards the end part of the day. Now, both of these dogs follow me around all morning, right? Come here, look what this one's doing now. And this is why everybody likes these show line Labrador Retrievers. Look, watch out of the way, Bocce. This is what he's going to be doing for the whole rest of the afternoon. Because he thinks it's, he thinks that it ain't school time, it's nap time, it's lounging time, And there's no convincing him. I was like, come on, dude, let's get up and make a video. He's like, you have to catch me tomorrow, boss. Like this is break time for me. So now with some of the dogs, it doesn't matter as much. Like Moose is a much higher energy dog, much higher endurance, quick recharge rate. So like with Moose, it can be this time of day. I can just let him go in for a minute, take a nap, bring him back out, and he's fired up and ready to go. But with those show line dogs, hey, they get tired or they get like things set in a routine like how it's supposed to be, and there's no, it's like they're a teamster or something. There's no change in their mind about their break times, right? And so, I know when a lot of you guys are watching videos on, especially Instagram. On YouTube it's bad enough, but at least on YouTube you get to see dogs doing something for quite a few minutes in a row. But in Instagram, it's like 30 seconds, 45 seconds, something like that. And then you go out and you practice it and you get your 30 seconds or you get your 45 seconds. Bocce, come here. And it works pretty good. And then you go to make your own Instagram video. you know, but you don't understand that the time that you went to make your own Instagram video, the time that you went to make your own little TikTok dance video, like it wasn't the same time you've been practicing, you know, and it throws the whole dog off. Like, I just want you guys to understand that dog training, it's an art. It's not just you can't reduce it to if I do X and Y, I'm going to get the same results every day. Things change. The weather changes. The positioning of the sun changes. The amount of wind. So, you know, it's just something as simple as wind. Like, it gets super windy here sometimes. Some of the dogs, it really messes them up. The rain messes some of them up. And then the more resilient a dog's temperament, the less those things affect them, you know, but not everybody's blessed to have a dog with a super resilient temperament. And not everybody is blessed themselves with having their own super resilient temperament. So what happens is it's a compounding problem. You take your dog out and you're trying to work on something, or you're trying to show somebody something, and it starts to go wrong, you know. And so you start to think it's a problem with the dog, or maybe you start to think it's a problem with your training strategy or methodology, when in reality it's just it's a timing problem or an environmental management problem, you know. Doing these things here on the course, this is not really preparing the dog for real life. Okay, what prepares the dog for real life is the fact that I come do our formal school work here on this course, then I go to the pre-adventure area, and that's more like wild and more like real looking, and then I go over to my farm and it's everything. We got creeks, we got a bluff, we got fallen trees, we got tractors, we got everything you can see in real life. But the dogs, it's not a one-for-one education. Like, I just teach them to jump up here on this little elevated surface, and all of a sudden they're perfect at the vet, or they're perfect at the groomer, or they're perfectly capable of going for a hike in the gorge. No, this is the first step, okay? And then I start changing environments, and that's my second step. And then the seasons come over the course of the year, and that's your third and fourth and fifth step, okay? Because doing something in the spring is different than doing it in the summer. Doing it in the summer is different than the fall, and doing it in the fall is different than doing it in the wintertime. And that's something that you guys are just not thinking about if you're not used to being outside, if you're not used to having dogs as they go through different developmental stages. And think about this, as you're just going through that first year cycle of educating your dog and socializing them and taking them out in the different seasons, okay, not only are the seasons changing, but your dog is changing very drastically. It's going through very pronounced developmental stage changes all in 1 year. You know, so of course, when you go to tell somebody, hey, watch this, or you go out and you try to mimic what you saw on Instagram or what you saw on TikTok, it's not going to look the same. Okay, and I just wanted to make you guys a quick little video and let you know that the same thing happens to me. You know, like, look at this. You see all the puppies that come out here, and it's no problem for me to get them to get up here on this block and then kind of spin around, you know. These older dogs, I try to make a video, they come up, they always balk a little bit, because right now, like, even though we could get this, you know, maybe 20 minutes ago, it's different when the cameraman is looking at them, because she's pointing the camera right at them. You get a little bit of performance anxiety. You know, so like when you're having that watch this problem, it's not always about the dog, not always about your training methodology. Sometimes it's about your particular presentation and your demeanor when the stakes are high, like somebody's watching you. You know, sit. Like, see that right there? I obviously didn't walk away from that dog thinking that that dog was gonna get up when I, you know, came back. I obviously thought, well, I'll put him there, and then I'll show off a little bit by walking all the way around him and then picking up his leash and taking off again, you know, because I'm trying to make myself look good. Guys, but that happens. It happens to me. It's going to happen to you. It happens to everybody, okay? And don't be ashamed of it, and don't judge yourself harshly, because anytime you see somebody working dogs and everything goes perfectly, then you know that they're not being very honest, okay? You know, and like, so, you know, the miracle of the interweb is that we can all put up stuff and show what we do, okay? But you got to be careful, because there's lots of little editing tricks and timing tricks that allow one to make things look a little better than it really is. And I don't even care. I mean, listen, if you want to put a beauty filter on yourself, if you want to have cool lighting, if you want to cover up some mistakes you make with loud music, if you want to use a lot of jump cuts, you know, that's all fine. I mean, I don't care what you're doing. You make yourself look however you want to look, but just be honest with everybody, okay? Because a very disturbing trend, in my opinion, is that people are looking at these edited videos and they're thinking that that's what real life looks like. And it's not what real life looks like. And the problem is it creates a type of training dysmorphia where people feel like they're not doing well enough for their own dog. And guys, listen, ain't nobody out there that makes videos of perfect dogs who have perfect dogs all the time. That's just, I don't know how else to say it, right? So don't feel bad, you know? It's like the magazines. You see the magazine, super jacked guy, super buff woman or whatever. Look, that ain't real. How many people that beautiful do you know in real life? None, okay? Right, so how many perfect dogs are there? None. And that's my dogs, your dogs, whoever, whatever famous dog trainer you've been following on social media, you know? So I hope this helps you. I want you to get out. Well, here we'll do one more dog. Come here, dog. All right, so like take this dog for instance, because this is a perfect little dog to end on. I put a lot of work into this little dog here. And when the owners got it, you know, they thought they were adopting a little yellow lab. And obviously, when you look at the dog, you understand that it's not just a little yellow lab. It's got a little of this and a little of that in it. And we put a lot of work into this dog. And still, when people come up that she doesn't know, or dogs come up that she doesn't know, she kind of has a tendency to alert, bark, and hackle up, and she can be a little rough with the other dogs, you know. And so I can make videos with this dog, and I can just take the parts out where she's, you know, being too rough with the other dogs. I can take the parts out where she's alert barking, you know. But like if I'm not honest about that, then I send this dog home, and the owners have a set of unrealistic expectations for the dogs because they're thinking about the dog in terms of like what I presented on the video compounded with what they think about Labrador Retrievers, okay? So I have to be very honest and open because I'm selling something that is a lifetime commitment. When dogs come here and hang out with me, they don't just come hang out with me and then you do a lesson or two and you're done. Like, you know, I'm available for these dogs for their whole lives. And I don't want to make any work for myself. So I'm 100% honest with people about what kind of dog they have, about the strengths, about the weaknesses, about the areas of concern, about our different management strategies. Okay, and so I can take a little dog like this. When you're watching this part of the video right now, it looks awesome. But if you'll go back a couple of videos, you know, like she acted up a little bit and she growled and she was a little bit bad with the other dogs. I didn't cut that out. I didn't make a jump cut and pretend that I'd made this dog perfect, that I had turned this dog into an actual Labrador Retriever when it's got some other stuff in it, you know. All that stuff, guys, and I'm not throwing anybody under the bus that makes those kind of videos. I'm just telling you, I would like for you to develop some discernment, okay? I would like for you to be able to spot that kind of stuff so that you don't judge yourself or your dog too harshly, okay? Some of these dogs are just better suited for the lifestyles that they live or the handlers that they have than others, and that might be your situation. Very rarely do you have a perfect dog. I've been in the dog business my whole life. I'm 50 years old, and I've had one dog that I really consider just exceptional, you know, that was just perfect from my perspective. One out of all that time, Stay. And I've had lots and lots of dogs. Stay there, nerd. I've been fortunate. I have a lot of discretionary income, and so over the years, I have bought every kind of dog you can imagine. I'd keep them, train them for a year, and then give them away. Okay, because I wanted to know what it was like to have all these different kinds of dogs. I've also worked for people that would bring dogs out here for seasonal boarding. So I would watch all kinds of good dogs all winter long or all race season or all summer, you know. And so I've seen all of it. And I can tell you that the perfect match, the perfect fit between dog and handler and lifestyle is extremely rare, okay? So when you're working with your dog and it ain't perfect, don't compare yourself to perfect YouTube videos. Don't compare yourself to perfect Instagram videos because that's not reality, okay? Compare your relationship with your dog to any relationship that you have with any human being, okay? There's some upside, good points, and there's some bad points, but it's like this. You don't have any relationships with people, unless you're really lucky, that's just up here all the time. It's up and down, and hopefully, like most of your relationships are more up than they're down. But there's no perfect relationships with people, and there's no perfect relationships with dogs, okay? So when you go out there and you're working with your dog and things didn't go today like they went yesterday, or when you try to show somebody and you run into the watch this problem, try not to get upset, because we all run into it. Some of us just edit our videos so that nobody sees it. All right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next week.